Rightio, catching up with Michelle Phillips after what was a pretty eventful week. I will say it was a week and a bit ago, though. But firstly, Michelle, welcome back to Campbell's Comments.
Thank you very much, Paul.
We'll start at the end. Firstly, congratulations on winning the Australian Female Drivers' Championships last Saturday. So this is a Saturday, so it's a week ago at Albion Park. Firstly, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And it was a big week, wasn't it?
Most definitely it was.
You started off the Sunday prior, so this will probably go up on Easter Sunday, so basically a fortnight before that. In trots, you had a pretty big card of drives. I think you had about 6 or 8 drives for the day, and race 2, unfortunately, you found a bit of grief. Yourself and Max come to grief. Well, you didn't. Your horse actually fell, and unfortunately had another horse come through behind you, and what looked like a sort of nothing accident. Unfortunately, both of you guys ended up in hospital.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's correct. My horse was hanging and crossed his legs and fell when Mark Risley was behind me and constantly ran over the top of me when we hit the ground, so it was pretty bad. He got off with a broken arm and I got a concussion and a few bruises and whatnot. So, yeah, we're both pretty lucky to still be here. Still be able to not have anything major seriously wrong. So, yeah, it's pretty nasty.
Well, it was, and I say that in all seriousness when you see falls, because quite often you'll see 6 and 7 people go down and everyone can walk away. Unfortunately, 2 of you went down, 2 of you ended up in hospital, in Mildura Hospital. You, with concussion, you said you were having trouble in and out of concussion there on the track on the day?
Yeah, so I vaguely remember falling, getting out of the way and sitting on the horse's head and then being put in the ambulance, and I don't really remember being transferred to another ambulance or ambulance staff or being in Mildura Hospital till I was pretty much woke up out of sedation and was in my own ward. But yeah, Skip unfortunately broke his arm. He got released that night and I didn't get released till about 6 o'clock the next night, just purely because they were just a bit concerned, and yeah.
Luckily enough, Mum was there too to keep an eye on you. She did a good job. If Mum will be watching this, she did a good job getting everything organised. She was a little bit worried she wouldn't get it all done, but it's nothing better to have Mum there with you sometimes.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I've lost my licence for 6 months, so it was Mum's weekend to come up and drive me around everywhere. And I couldn't have done it without Mum. Like, I was pretty lost when I was in hospital and wanted Mum all the time, and although I'm pretty sure I gave her a fair bit of trouble, she knew what to do, and yeah, I can't be more thankful of Mum. She's unfortunately, my pop's ill at the moment, so she's between my pop and me. She's flat out, but no, Mum's awesome.
As a father of a daughter, you guys give it to parents all the time. Don't you worry about that at all. Rightio, so you were nominated for the Australian Female Drivers' Championships. Was there ever a doubt that you wouldn't be there?
There was leading up to it. Like, obviously, when I had the fall, I didn't know to how bad I would be. And there was obviously it was how I'd pull up and cope. But I pulled up fine and off I went.
Yourself and Alan Tormey, you were selected. Did that come out of the blue for you?
Yeah, it did actually. Like, I don't really get asked to do anything of that sort, and that was my first time. And I love Queensland, obviously from past history there last year, winning the Group 1 Redcliffe Gold Cup. So I always love going up to that part of the woods. And yeah, it was a bit of a shock, but I'm glad I was able to do good.
Yourself and Ellen, 2 Bendigo girls, really. I know you are a Warragul girl and Ellen's technically a Charlton girl, but I think Bendigo might as well claim both of you. Representing, firstly, just even being asked, that must make you pretty proud.
Yeah, I was pretty proud. I was actually a bit shocked, as I said, but no, I took it by the horns and said, yep, why not? It's not often you get asked to do these things, so yeah, no, I'm grateful that they chose me, and yeah.
It was a strange series. You actually ended up missing out on 3 races, unfortunately, and probably helped in a way that way because of the aggregate. But it's a bit funny watching, I suppose, in races. You would have been, the competitive in you would have been saying, I want to be in all of these races.
Yeah, absolutely. I was sitting on the sidelines. It was actually 2. We all missed probably one to 2 races, and it's probably the same as the other girls. We were like, oh, how are we going to get our points up? And yeah, it kind of benefited me to a certain extent, but then at the same time we all got given the same amount of points when we all sat on the sidelines. So yeah, it was just a matter of what drives we had and the ability of the horses and how we drove them to the conditions of the race. And yeah, mine went pretty good, so I can say I'm not happy.
At what point of time did you know you won, like the last race? Were you still 50-50 on being able to win?
Well, they said over the microphone when I won the race that I was in the lead, and I just knew I had one more race to go, and I knew I had to be in the top 3 to be able to win it. And yeah, when I ran second, I was pretty confident that I'd won it. So yeah, I was very happy.
You are, people who know you are anxious, I suppose. I'll be diplomatic. You do get a little bit nervous, if you like. How were you stepping into that last race, knowing that you had to have a top 3 finish?
Nah, I had a pretty clear mind. I thought whatever happens, happens. I've made it this far, and I've gotten back on the track after a fall the week prior, and yeah, I was pretty happy.
Can you describe it when you hit the line, when you're in second? Can you describe the emotion of what was going through your mind?
I had probably the biggest, cheesiest grin on my face, and I actually said to Ellen, I think it was Ellen when we pulled up, I said, Jesus, who would have thought that? I said, last week I had a fall and I was in hospital, and this week I won the championship. So yeah, no, I was pretty happy.
The club at Albion Park, don't step any further out of that camera either. I just had a quick look, but we're not out. It's okay. They do a great job up there, don't they? The Creek. I've had a few dealings with them. They're very progressive. I'm sure they would have looked after all of you up there pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely. Like they were pretty forthcoming with what was to happen during the day and the week leading up to it, and where we were staying and what we were going to do that day. So they took us out for lunch to a local, function lawn bowls type thing. So we had lunch there and had a round of lawn bowls, and and then we all went back and got ready and went to the races.
So lawn bowls is the lead up now for Michelle Phillips. When she's going to go driving, she's got to go to a game of lawn bowls before. Is this what we're saying?
No.
But it worked on the day. But it was a lot of fun. The experience there, I only watched one of the races actually. And you see Amanda Turnbull and myself and Grant, we were commenting about how many of these female races Amanda actually wins, driving against such great female drivers that Australia has. It must have been a great thrill for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, each state has chosen their best of the best at that time, and you never. Personally, you don't know these drivers until you come up against them, because it's not like we drive against them every day coming from our own state. So having drinks after that, and experiencing our stories of what's happened and our driving careers, it's always great to learn from other drivers as well, and you make good friends out of it. So yeah.
I'd say that, winning obviously was the icing on the cake, but I would imagine just the experience of being able to get up there and enjoy something very, very different must have been a great thrill for you.
Yeah, it definitely was.
Mitch, thank you. Well done. Hopefully you didn't get too far out of the camera. I have troubles when I have no one behind the camera, but that's okay. But thank you. Well done. I think it's a great achievement and really highlights the highs and lows of harness racing and the way that it can be. But congratulations, and hopefully it won't be the last time. Surely they have a defending champ. Surely you get asked back next year as a defending champ.
I believe I was on the radio to Chris Barsby a couple of days ago, and he did mention something about defending the title, so hopefully we'll give it another crack.
Another junket to Queensland. You don't mind them, do you?
Nah, love it.
Thank you very much, Michelle.
Thank you, Paul.